So I'm back today to do a video that, I don't know, I've seen a lot of other creators do this. I'm not sure if anybody cares or is really interested, but I thought for fun, maybe we'd take a look around. So I'm up here in the bonus room of my house, and this has become my de facto game room slash studio. I've been shooting videos in this room for about 10 years. About 10 or 11 years on and off. Mostly aquarium videos. You'll see aquariums sometimes periodically in the backgrounds of my videos, and I have been building aquariums online on YouTube specifically for about a decade, about 12, 13 years or so, and it's been a lot of fun. In fact, I still shoot videos up here. I just shot a video up here last week, and if I shoot an aquarium video, basically I'm shooting this direction. And if I shoot a board game video, I'm shooting this direction. So that's what the space is used for. This bonus room is sort of expansive, but it does have ceilings that kind of go down on the edges, which kind of interfere with a lot of my storage abilities, so I can't just make it into a full-on library, and I really have to take advantage of these long walls that I have. And I haven't fully taken advantage of both of the long walls, but I've tried to kind of cram things in anywhere I can, and do it in a logical way. And I think how we store things and how we keep things, especially avid board gamers, after a couple of years of shopping, you can quickly fill up your space. And so it's kind of worth it maybe to see what other people picked as their solutions for storage. I know recently I went to Cleveland and visited some two different YouTube creators, and was very fascinated with specifically how they arranged their space, and also made it so that they could film. Because storing things is one thing, making things nice to film is an entirely other thing, and can be quite difficult. Usually what's the case is just outside of frame, it's a mess. Yeah, and that's not always the case here. I try to keep actually the entire room pretty tidy most of the time. I have my corners, and I'll show you those corners that are for clutter, and where clutter comes around. But it's really important, I guess, if you're filming a video, to have the background be as unchaotic as possible. I don't think that's always possible with these shelves full of games. Sometimes when I'm watching a video, if I get bored, I'll start snooping through their shelves behind them and stuff. So I don't mind showing the shelves full of games and things like that. I do think it's less distracting to do, like I've seen other creators kind of set up in front of a fireplace, or like a much simpler background. And I think I would like to do something like that too at some point, but really filming up here is my best option. It's the quietest room in the house. It's kind of away from everything. So my wife Holly, can watch TV or do the dishes or do whatever she wants to do downstairs without disturbing me whatsoever. So I can kind of, this is my little quiet spot in the house to do the work I need to do. And sound's really important with video, so you need it quiet. As far as games and stuff with me, I have this kind of, I keep buying, I buy a lot of skirmish games, and a lot of the space that I have back here is storing terrain, but I don't often play those kinds of games. There's not a lot of people, I don't have a lot of people in my life that want to play those games, and I'm going to be seeking them out. Or I keep saying that I will. I cut my teeth in board games like with Warhammer and stuff like that. And further back in high school and stuff, I played Risk and Shogun and Axis and Allies and all those things. I remember staying up all night playing those games and really loved it. But I put all that aside until I found Warhammer 40K, and I just went crazy. Like, I painted all of it. I was playing it with, I had one friend in particular that I would play with. Sometimes I'd go and I'd play in tournaments and stuff like that, but not very often. Then my one friend decided that they didn't like playing it anymore. And I just kept buying it and painting it and stuff like that, and it became more of a painting hobby for me. Then pretty soon after that, I had gotten laid off, and I sold all of those armies. And it wasn't until years later when I'd reestablished, like a couple of careers later, and it felt like a whole life later, I kind of come up out of everything. I become debt free, and I started to look around more at like kind of rebuilding my hobby. And of course, I started with Warhammer again, and I started buying. I bought some knights and some AdMech guys and stuff, and I started painting them. Then I started kind of branching out into like the board game versions of the Warhammer stuff. Yeah, like Blackstone Fortress and things like that. And then I started looking out at the broader board game world, and I kickstarted a game called Heavy Hitters, and that was in 2018. My collection in 2018 looks something like this. It's a very small, modest shelf full of some fairly basic games and a couple of interesting ones. It has grown quite a bit since then. It's like sort of exponentially grown over the years as I've backed more and more crowdfunding projects to the point where I've just like filled up this room. It was quick and easy to do, and surprisingly and shockingly easy to fill up your room full of expensive board games. It is not difficult with crowdfunding. So that's how we got here. If you have any questions, be sure to leave it down below. And don't forget to click like if you like this video. If you like me being open like this, click like. I'd appreciate it. All right, let's take a look around. I do occasionally work from home, and especially during the pandemic, this is all set up so I can do my work, my IT work for Regal Entertainment Group. Over here is a little 10-gallon tank, and in these boxes, this is my photo junk. It is quite trashy right now. I apologize. I need to go through all this and kind of reset it. This was, I've actually just kind of rearranged in my room a bit, and this actually was over on the other side. But this has got my mats that are too big to store, my game mats that are too big to store. And right now this is just kind of a collection point for all the various photography clutter. I got a microphone and stuff. I've kind of just reset a workstation. I'm going to show you that in a minute. So I need to redo or get a shelf or something better to redo this area. This old cabinet here, you can tell how old it is. That was the first sticker I put on there. It's just full of photo gear and photo gear junk. So I got it all sorted here: batteries, cameras, lenses, things like that. It's all in here. You'll see my tripod's clicking around on things. Things like when I clean up, I'll take all the cameras and tripods and stuff, and they kind of migrate over to this area. And in these boxes and stuff, I've got hard drives. I save every bit of footage that I got, and I've got probably 100 hard drives in here. Bags, green screens, all that kind of stuff. It's all back there. I've got a number of little aquariums in here. They've all been kind of engineered to be as quiet as possible and just kind of be pretty, or, you know, nice little specimens of aquariums. But as we move around over here, I got a little bit of a bar. Not a lot of alcohol or anything in there. And a couple of other little show tanks that are kind of neat. These are my bog filter tanks. This is my steampunk tank. Both of these aquariums are kind of set up almost the same way, but this one's got this wood enclosure around it, which is really fun. And on this wall we have shelves and shelves of games. We're going to go through this here in a second, but let's talk about the tables for just a minute. So these are banquet tables, or 4-foot by 4-foot banquet tables. And I've got little cup holders attached to the side. These are a great little Amazon product if you can't afford a board game table and you've got a table like this. It's kind of thin enough to clamp things to. And that's what it looks like underneath, is just a nice wood color. I got these tables for 75 bucks a piece off Amazon. They're much more now than they were then. But yeah, $75 game table from Amazon. I desperately want like a proper gaming table and stuff. Like, I really want one, but I gotta admit the versatility of these things has been great. And if I wanted to, I could take these two tables and push them together. This is the same table, it's just got some little mats on it. I could push them together, and I've got a 4x8, which I bought thinking maybe I'd be playing Warhammer on. No. But these are a nice alternative to get the drinks off of the table and stuff. I've also got a plyometrics bench. around the corner over here that sometimes drinks end up on. At one point, I worked out in this room quite a lot. And I actually used to use that up here, but this also makes like a little side table that's kind of off camera and hidden. So I've got a little side table here for it, and also, you know, sometimes drinks and other things land on there too. Game boxes. Good little side table. So for my main shelves, this big shelf back here we'll look at a little closer in a second. I got this from Target about, maybe 15 years ago. It's been a long time. In fact, all of these shelves came from Target, and these are like the bigger ones. I've got smaller ones over here for these smaller games and stuff. This big one came from my dad's house. He just kind of gave it to me, and I was like, oh, a shelf with cubes. I'll take it. But I've got a very eclectic look as like every single one of my shelves. Even these two technically, because they're made at such a different time, or these are all different colors. So this is very much a collection of things I was able to acquire and use rather than anything decorator or super nice. Although I try to keep at least these things kind of consistent. So up on top of my cabinet, I've got a bunch of terrain pieces and stuff that I made for Pulp Alley that I haven't really used yet. They're a little too delicate. I've got these things stashed away, and I'm going to show you that in a second in different places. But these are ones that I haven't figured out what to do with yet. So they're sitting out for decoration in the meantime. Because I've just kind of reshuffled everything too, I have at different times, I've had these in more of a logical assembly. Like I've had like things together quite a bit, and some of it's still like that, but mostly things are sorted by how they fit and where I want to see them, or whether or not I want to see them or not in a video. So that's the way it's set. Yeah, so this isn't the final resting place for all of these games. As you can see, most of my CMON games are here. Just because whenever I play Ankh, I pull out almost all of these boxes. That's my biggest complaint with that. And the same is true of the Rising Sun. I did get an organizer to fit inside of these two things. So I've got all of Rising Sun inside of these two boxes. This has literally no organizer. I bought this off eBay. And everything's just in plastic bags, so all of Blood Rage is in there. And Ankh, of course, is pretty new, and I've got most of it in here, and the rest of it's down by my paint table because I haven't finished it yet. I got my 3 flavors of Zombicide. That's probably where I'm going to stop with Zombicide and stuff. I got this completely painted, and haven't ever presented it on here yet, so that might show up in the future. This is probably my newest one, which isn't quite as well liked, of course, as some of the others, but I really loved the models that it came with. Down here, I've got some other games. These are kind of my less popular games, but maybe ones I want to try to learn a little bit more about. Victorian Masterminds, I got like a mega deal on. This is Damask. This is a cool little unknown game. I actually did an unboxing of this, and not a lot of people watched it. I think it got such a low viewer count, I didn't bother really talking about it much more. But it's a cool little game that's very similar to Azul. This is open because I've got a couple of Kickstarters that are on the way, and I want to make sure I leave a hole to put something in. You'll see a number of little things like this around here, and these are just like places to store terrain. I've got different, some old school Warhammer 40k terrain. There's some orc stuff, and just kind of various little things. This one's a lot emptier than most of the rest of them are, but yeah, as I said, room for future expansion. But keeping them in these little bins keeps it kind of tidy and nice. I like that. I got tired of stacking these things up just like this over and over again. I wanted to make this a little bit taller and take advantage of the nice high ceilings here. So I took this second cabinet that's supposed to be the same color, but it's not. But I took the same cabinet and I flipped it up so it's more vertical, and I was left with this gap here which fits these two boxes really, really nice. These kind of huge boxes that come out from Mythic and, you know, sometimes from Chip Theory, I guess. Both of these are organized so well inside that they can turn and tilt and stuff without being a big deal. And so I thought they would look really nice right here. I haven't, these expansions I need to kind of go through and see if I can work them into here. What I'll probably do is just take these, what I tend to do with the expansion boxes is, if it's possible, I get them into the base game. And then I take these boxes and I throw them in my attic in case I want them again later. Owen, the guy that comes and films with me all the time, had a really clever idea. And he's been like putting them on the wall. He'll just put like a little hole in the back of it or something and like hang them up on the wall, or take the back off of it and just hang them up by the cover. And they make really great art. So I might be doing some of that too. That was a really cool idea he had. Speaking of big box, I thought my Windward box would look really nice up here, so I jammed it up here. And the Twixt box, I just think that that's a really cool cover, and it's neat and vintage. And this little guy, he didn't really have a place to be. He's so small, so I stuck him up there. Up here we have some of my favorites and some new arrivals up here. I put most of my my newer things up on this shelf. That's going to be right up behind me with in most videos. And these are also some of my favorite games. Some of them I haven't gotten to yet, and some of them are slowly becoming my favorites. I've got literally everything made for Hellboy. All right here. What I'd like to do is eventually I want to find a place just to put expansions that I can't fit in the box. I'd really love to find a way to put them somewhere else. So as we get lower, we get other varieties of games. Like I said, there's no real rhyme or reason where some of these things go in. Like I just got this yesterday. It fit right there. Doesn't really go with Hellboy at all, but it's there. I got my unmatched area. I got one whole shelf dedicated just to books. So this is an area that I've just kind of redone in my room. All of this stuff sat on top of that thing the mats were on the other side of the room. And this has got a couple of different things, like all the Firefly Adventures games and the Walking Dead games, which are, you know, sort of skirmish games. This is a little less so. But I had a lot of content, a lot of expansion content and stuff for them. You know, a little 3D printed ship and stuff. So I just kind of put it all in here just to kind of keep it off the shelves and keep it all together someplace safe. What else we got here? We have Mexico. It's all my Spanish village buildings and stuff from foreground in there. We have some more buildings and terrain pieces in here. In fact, I think most of this is terrain pieces. This is where I've been storing my Dungeons and Lasers box sets. A lot of these fit right back in the box, and I can just kind of plop them in there. I've got it mixed in there with some houses and other things too. Again, more Dungeons and Lasers stuff and more houses and things. So this is like a little the monkey bar. Really cool, like foreground buildings and stuff kind of stashed away inside of all of these. Yep, and there's some city buildings in here. These are mostly laser cut, little laser cut buildings and stuff. These wood cut, laser cut buildings. You can take these roofs off and kind of play all inside of here. A lot of the doors will swing open and stuff too. Bunch of neat stuff in here. Stashed cleanly away. We got the Pickle Rick game. He's all painted up too. I'll pull that out and play it. Got Grandma here. This big thing, my dad would buy occasionally really odd decorative. He had some odd decorative choices that he made. So that's why this thing, it's very real. It's very heavy. And it's hard to work into a room, but I've done it. Up here at the top is your basic memory clutter, things from around. This is my dad in a costume a long time ago. He was going around town going, "I'm a mommy and a daddy." Oh yeah. Another game I used to play a whole lot was X-Wing. In fact, I've got a whole box still of X-Wing things, but I haven't played it in quite a while. Then we're back here at another shelf. A lot of these games were some of my earlier games, and a bunch of things I really love. I got like all of Cthulhu: Death May Die. Got more Unmatched floating around. Got my Taboola games area with their couple of games, and a couple of other things that just fit here. In fact, most of this just kind of fit there. I think originally I had Wingspan, and this was all the Stonemaier games area. At different times I try to organize things, but it kind of rarely works out. Like Hate is just kind of jammed on top of this box just because it's enormous. And up here we got all the up zones. I love these things. Again, more terrain for games that I don't play very often. I'm hoping to change that. We got these set of games. This is one of my early, I don't know if that was crowdfunding or I just bought it ahead of time. I think I just bought this one ahead of time, but a lot of early crowdfunding games and things that I was interested in. Someone gave me this as a gift. This actually looks kind of terrible. As far as like the theme and stuff, it looks pretty rough. But have not played it yet, so I don't know. Then we move over to here. This cabinet's a little bit bigger than those Target ones, so I can hold quite a lot of stuff inside of here. And some of them are really real easy games. Like here's my Tang Garden. It's shoved in here down low because there's another there. I'm about to get a big box expansion for that, so all of that's going to come out and be kind of put up on the other shelf eventually. And then we got some more stuff over here. So as we move along, on the back wall here, what I've done is I've taken that plastic shelving and I've just made it one layer and just kind of like made like a shelf out of like a 5-shelf system or something like that, or maybe 2 5-shelf systems. And that's been super handy for these huge games like Solomon Kane and those other big box games that you saw over there were used to be right here. I'm working out more shelves for storage. Like these are all trees. It's just a box of trees. And like the heavy hitters, the game that kind of started all this mess. The Warhammer stuff that I still have is all kind of way back in here. I've got a bunch of like proper Warhammer games. My favorite Warhammer game that I still play is Blackstone Fortress. And literally all of that is in here. I bought the little Fielder foam pieces for each of it. And I've got all the expansions kind of hid away in here. These things, they go up for sale and then they're gone. And then you can't ever get them again. So I even though we played all the way through Blackstone Fortress and loved it, I thought I might want to play the rest of it, so I bought it all. This is all painted. This is all painted with foam inserts and everything. This is all ready to go. I thought about doing a video showing all of these off one day. I'll probably have to do that. So look for that maybe on a hobby Saturday when I don't feel like painting. On a week when I don't feel like painting, maybe I'll share those, all these expansions. So as we go down the way here, this is all Gaslands terrain. This is all stuff I've got to play Gaslands, which is like a little, like a race game you play with Matchbox cars and stuff. And I've got a lot of cool terrain. It looks really neat on the table. I've actually played this one a few times. Got that collectible Star Wars Duels game from forever ago. This is all stuff I bought to play Adeptus Titanicus. So I've got a bunch of 10mm buildings and stuff. Again, a game I probably won't play. Again, here's something where I've kind of practiced with those clear bases and stuff to kind of make something that I could just put anywhere on terrain. But yep, this whole box is just full of little 10mm buildings and stuff. And most of this stuff is wood. There's a few of the plastic kits. Like this is obviously a Games Workshop, part of the Games Workshop plastic kits and stuff. But most of this is terrain stuff from those wood laser cut things. And as we get into here, this is all my Pulp Alley stuff. You know, all my cards for Pulp Alley. These are all various characters and different little pieces of scenery and things that I thought would be useful for Pulp Alley. I've got some of the PDF books that I've picked up, all printed out and set up inside of here. I think I have a spare rule book here. Yep, got my rule books. You can play Pulp Alley for free. Did you know that? You could buy the course, or not this book, but you can get the starter rules that have enough to kind of try out a game. And the cards you can get for free. But the PDFs that I bought, I printed out and I made my own little booklets for them. I've got many of the characters all set up in this bin here, all kind of safe and sound and ready to go. These are all a lot of the pre-made characters and stuff that they have for the game. So as we look further through here, we have some. These are some things I bought to organize and never got to. All expansions and stuff that I just needed a place to put. Mastermind, old ass game. DEI. This is where DEI ended up. Not because I don't like it, but because it's been so huge and not the prettiest. It's ended up over here, but boy, I can just pull this whole thing out and I've got DEI ready to go. And over here, this is the other corner. The other corner I don't show, and you won't see. This is my my big bag. This is a what do you call it, Calhoun bag or something like that. So this is a big empty bag. It's for musical instruments. And back in the back here, this is all foam. We got some more Warhammer guys kind of jammed into pieces of foam to kind of keep them safe. There's a door back there. Behind that door are all my childhood comic books, yet even more terrain, and a few other things. I never go in there. I don't even know why I have this stuff. I've got extra chairs in case I have more guests that come over to play. For the most part, I just kind of keep all of that sealed up. These are sometimes expansion clutter, things I haven't gotten to, unfinished painting projects. All my these are things that I have kind of put aside for sale on the ground over here. Anybody wants a fully painted copy of Alone, let me know. And here's what's left of my X-Wing collection. There's quite a few things in there. Quite a lot of X-Wing. Also, this is also X-Wing. I was super into X-Wing for a while. I have a lot of old games that are from my proto collection, like way back in the day. Like this is full of Mage Knight little click starter things that when they had those little whiz kids looking click bases. I've got bags back here full of painted miniatures from Weird mostly. I think that these are Malifaux miniatures all shoved into here. This has looked better in the past, but this is sort of my game organizer clutter. We've got things like plastic bags. We've got sleeves for cards. Other kind of various organizing pieces and material that I've collected over the years. Different things to kind of help. And sometimes things that help like mid-game, like zombie side card holders and stuff like that. Up here we've got everything from coasters to dice, some rubber bands, dice trays. This is used to be mostly dice related stuff, but I think some other stuff sort of migrated in here. Got the dice cups and all the good stuff right there. Then we come to the display cabinet where of course we've got Cthulhu here and his dinosaur friends kind of guarding the game room. And I put a lot of my recent painting projects, especially stuff that's kind of just going to be too big to store, like this Tarrasque and maybe this Giant, I guess. All of that ends up down here. Of course, I've got my little Warhammer scene going, some decorative dice and things that are too pretty to put away, all down here. My AdMech stuff that I display because I'll probably never play it. And then the stuff I like the least but don't know where to put it goes on the bottom. This isn't super pretty. Normally this is sort of tucked away in between the two things. And this comes out and it becomes the power source for my lights and my cameras and whatnot when I'm shooting. It's super helpful to have a little multi-plug thing like that in your studio to kind of pull out or put away as you see fit. I have a couple of more aquariums. Some pretty nice ones, I think. I've got these guitars on the wall. I took a number of lessons, but I've never actually been able to play them to any degree. This was a guitar I bought early on when I was taking lessons, and I've kept it just because I always wanted to. I want to play this one day. I'd really love it if I could play it one day. So this guitar I bought at a pawn shop for $25. It was a Harmony, one of those ones you could get at like Walmart or something. And I redid it and made it my steampunk guitar. It was actually kind of a lot of work, and I keep it because it was sort of an art project. I was real happy about it. There's a video about it, and you can actually see someone that can play a guitar play it if you Google steampunk guitar and kind of look for that one. This is a resonator that belongs to my daughter. This was a birthday gift she got at some point. I've got some various bits of art and different things. I got some Hellboy stuff, got some Blackstone, or I guess that was Kill Team stuff. That was a burlesque show that I filmed. Some stuff I got at Dragon Con, some artwork and different things. This is how I store most of my mats. These are made from vinyl, and this is a really great way to store most mats. The really huge ones, of course, won't work on that way, but I've got like the Witcher here. This is that one that just looks like wood. Root. We've got a Scythe map right here. We've got Ankh right here. I really love game mats, and this is great, especially the Epic, those tiny Epic things. If you got any of those, like the tiny Epic pirate stuff, fits great. Just kind of right there. Let's move back this way. We got some townsfolk tussle guys on display. Some various little fandom kind of things and bands I like and stuff like that. I got the radio for the room. Then underneath I have my small box games. Now these are all the smaller box games that fit in this kind of smaller cabinet. And I've got quite a variety. I've tried to keep most of the tiny Epic stuff together, the Scott Alm stuff together. But really this is just kind of like whatever fits in there because all that stuff's really tiny. And I got all my Ragers, my North Sea stuff all put together there. Got a little bit of room to grow here. Yeah, I kept the root and stuff together. I wanted to make it like somewhat logical, the order. If I had a lot of a particular thing, I try to keep it together the best I can. But yeah, a lot of small little games here. Little bit fun games that fit on a smaller shelf. Okay, got yet even more mats. These are mats that I use quite a lot and swap out. Because they're in cases and kind of safe from being splashed and stuff, I've got them over here. But these are all just, a little hard to see right there. These are all just expandable mat cases. They're really handy too because you can write. They got a little thing and you can write on the top of them and know what's inside of them. Keep it all nice and organized. Underneath my table over here, more terrain storage. That's empty. It's something I've got to put more things in. But that's all full of my foresty terrain. And down here are yet even more mats. These actually I have on to kind of protect the mats. Some Walking Dead mats. And yet even more terrain mats. These are all like 2 by 2 foot little terrain mats that I can pull out for different things. And down below it, are little plastic cobblestones. So these are all the same size, but they're all cobblestone, and they're made for Christmas villages and stuff. They have to sit flat. You can't roll them. Like, you could probably roll these things up and put them in that vinyl thing like I did the rest of them. But those cobblestones, you can't do that. But I keep them all under here just to keep all of these nice and flat. And I put this on top of it in case we do play here, or somebody plays here and they want to put their feet up, so that it won't get shoe prints and stuff all over it. I actually just inherited this Mac. I haven't set it up yet. But the reason this is over here is I'd love to set up a recording session or station so I can kind of set up everything on here, record something, record games, or do different things here in a more streamlined manner, other than what I do now is record everything to SD cards and then go back. I'd like to do, I was really inspired by Alex from Board Game Co. and the setup he had, so I've set this up to sort of mimic that, where I could go in and kind of just record as I go and make these videos without a lot of work on the back end. So hopefully sometime in the near future I get all this figured out, and I can make even more videos a little faster. So for lights and stuff in the studio, what I tend to do is I just mount the lights directly to the table. So mine are just kind of clipped on here, directly to the table. That saves a lot of space underneath for stands. And I've got a lot of these small LED lights that you can either put a battery in or you can plug in, and it makes it really easy and convenient. I can rotate this table around and I don't have to move all the lights. I just kind of unplug everything and move it around. And they're out of the way for camera stands and other things that I want to work in here. Now, obviously this room doesn't look quite this clean all the time. I've just cleaned it. So keep that in mind. But there it is. But there you go, folks. There's the grand tour of the Pecktec Games studio. I've had a lot of fun playing in here. It's a lot of fun working in here. And I look forward to making more and more stuff for you all. And folks, that's all I got for you today. Thank you for taking a few minutes to take a look around my room. This room is kind of expanded and expanded and expanded. It's odd, the storage needs that come with being obsessed with board games. And I think all of us have a different approach and technique. Tell me how you organize your stuff below. I'd be curious to know. And don't forget to click like on the way out. Enjoy your games, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.